Grandpa's foods. Todd, it would kill them to know that we know. I said, why? She said, I love your father. I'm sad that he's gone, not here, that we're not married. I respect your father. He's made some bad decisions, and I respect him. They're his parents. Grandma and Grandpa are his parents, and they're embarrassed for what their son has done. They don't want that conversation, Todd. So we will pretend when they come over to the house, if we mention it at all, the food, we'll pretend it was kind neighbors. I'd rather you not mention it at all. They already know who gave it what. I miss you, Grandma and Grandpa. In the beginning was the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Because we believe, we speak. Because He first loved us, we speak His Word. We walk in the path of Jesus to make disciples of all nations until the Lord allows us to speak again together. May the peace of God that surpasses all understanding rest upon you. I'm Todd Herman. This has been Disciples View.
The views and opinions expressed in this broadcast may not necessarily reflect those of the American Family Association or American Family Radio.
90.5 KTXG Greenville, Dallas.
Oh, please let me make it. Please, Lord.
今日最後まで大丈夫だった？
最後までいたよ。
ああ。生徒の人もあった？生徒の人もあった？生徒。
Many people are afraid to say it.
So afraid of being labeled as Islamophobic that they won't stand up and say what is necessary to speak the truth about the threat that Islamist terrorists, whether it's Hamas, Al-Qaeda, ISIS, or Al-Shabaab and other groups, pose to freedom and peace-loving people everywhere.
Some Democrat governors are calling for increased security at places of worship across the country. Bronson Woodruff has more.
As the Israel-Hamas war continues, concerns are high right now that security here at home should pick up around places of worship. This comes as reported threats are up against Jews and Muslims. Gretchen Whitmer is the Democratic governor of Michigan. The AP reports that she's leading a Democrat group of governors calling for more funding for security at places of worship across the nation. Matt Staver is founder and chairman of Liberty Counsel. He said the calls for more security are justified.
I think, unfortunately, it's necessary to secure places of worship around the country.
Staver mentioned Governor Ron DeSantis in Florida having more security around synagogues in particular because of threats coming from around the world.
Synagogues to Jews and Muslims.
ミッキーは頭良かったね。マイクは頭良かったね。ミッキーちゃん。ミッキーちゃん。頭良かったね。
賢い。
賢かった。どういう感じだった？賢い。
賢いよ。
一番頭いいかね。
Tens of millions traveling during the holiday week. According to AAA, this breaks down to 49.1 million getting behind the wheel, 4.7 million hopping on a plane, and 1.5 million people traveling by cruise, bus, or train. And it looks like more people are trying to beat long security lines than ever before. TSA saying they've hit a record number of TSA pre-check users.
For American Family News, I'm Rusty P.
あきこさんとあきこさんとクリアルさんの妹マサイさんグルになって今お母さんの悪口言ってんだよ一番仲良かったんだよ。一番お母さんと仲良かった。毎日電話であきこさん裏切ってマザーさんと組んで今度は反対にお母さんの悪口言ってんだよ やった今日は父さん。スチーム入ったの？
サウナだけだ。
あ、サウナ
ってシャワーだけだよ。
あ、スチームでももう治ってるよ。うん、入るならあそこはね。よかったね。
outside of the White House on January 6, 2021. We're too busy going after Steve Bannon. We're too busy going after Roger Stone. We're too busy going after Peter Navarro, and the list goes on. This is astonishing. But this is what you get when you put Democrats in charge. I mean, there is no other way to put this. When you elect, in the name of progressivism and love and equality, you elect these Democrats, these incompetent Democrats that don't believe in the rule of law and this thing called consequences for your actions. You put them in charge. This is what you get. And it goes all the way from Biden all the way down to the Secret Service. I mean, this is supposed to be America's premier dignitary protection service, keeping the president alive and going, safeguarding the American dollar. And they can't even catch a carjacking thief. And this isn't the first lapse of protection with the White House, with the Secret Service. I mean, remember how many individuals scaled the fence at the White House before they finally decided that the fence was too short? I mean, just during the Trump administration, a gentleman made it into the White House. He was in the residence. He made it into the White House building through an entry point before the Secret Service tackled him. He wasn't in the residence. Correct that. He was in, I think it was the East Wing, but he was in the White House. He wasn't in the North or South Lawn. No, he was in the White House before the Secret Service got him. So this is an embarrassment, absolute embarrassment. And when you're focused on all the wrong things, this is what happens. This is exactly what happens when you're focused on all the wrong things. Speaking of focused on the wrong things and the right things, I'll tell you what. Israel is focused on the right things, and they have completely taken over northern Gaza, by the way. And this was in a matter of weeks. Remember, Israel delayed their ground game into Gaza for a couple of weeks because they were getting pressure from the Biden White House to not go into Gaza. Netanyahu said, we got to do what we got to do. We're taking out Hamas. And they went into Gaza, and they've now assumed control of northern Gaza, including the hospital where Hamas was operating out of, where their headquarters was. Yes, their headquarters was in a hospital. All right? In the tunnels underneath the hospital, that's where Hamas leadership was operating out of. And the Israeli Defense Force, they've assumed control of all of northern Gaza pretty handily, by the way. There's been a little bit of resistance, but not much. And Israel has suffered a few casualties in northern Gaza, but not many in the grand scheme of the conflict. So far it hasn't escalated, which is a good thing. So far it hasn't escalated. That is a good thing. That's something to be praised. You know, there was a lot of predictions about World War III and Iran, you know, firing nukes at Israel and Lebanon and ISIS and the list goes on. But thus far, those concerns haven't borne themselves out. And United Airlines is actually opening up flights back into Israel here in a couple days. United Airlines is opening up commercial flights back into Israel. El Al, which is the Israeli airline, they never stopped. They've been taking flights in every day into Israel, into Tel Aviv. And Delta Airlines is going to reassess next week on their flights into Israel. So it's very possible, you know, after Thanksgiving, all the tourism and flights back into Israel could resume their normal activities now that Israel is in control of all of northern Gaza. You know, what this does, and I fall prey to this stuff sometimes too, and I get it wrong at times, but No, just the experts. The number of people who wear the title expert by their name and get it wrong